On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Monday, August 4th, 2025. When Cole is laid to rest. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. When most of the Newmans were away at the invitation of Aristotle Dumas, they had no way to communicate with the world outside of the estate in the French Riviera, and had no idea that Cole Howard had died. Now that they are back, it doesn't take long for Claire, Victoria, and Nicky to resume their natural instincts of banding together on an issue. Not knowing how long everyone would be gone, Victoria and Claire were going to hold a service for Cole while they were still away. But since finally hearing from their loved ones that they were heading home, they rescheduled so they could all be there. Kyle, of course, wants to be there for Claire, not to mention that he and Cole got along well and was supportive of their relationship. Victoria agrees that Kyle should be Claire's +1 for the funeral service, but warns that Victor won't agree. Claire doesn't care about appeasing her grandfather on the day of her father's funeral. Kyle is her partner, and it's appropriate for him to be there. Claire hopes that Victor would give the day a pass on his petty hatred for the Abbotts. At the main ranch house, Nick and Adam have a word. Adam stepped up while Nick was gone and was there for their sister. Between showing empathy, setting aside their differences, and defying Victor recently, maybe there is another side to Adam that Nick can appreciate. With Victor away, Adam and Chelsea have been running Newman Media without interference. They've also been showing Victor a kinder way of doing things and being there for Victoria and Claire in their time of need. But Victor's back now. Are things about to change at work? Loyalties are about to be tested this week. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, August 4th have Victor losing patience with Adam's insubordination, Kane gaining a new ally, and Chelsea sharing a secret with Lily. Victor may be grateful that Adam made his way up the hill to Kane's estate in France, but he left his son a very specific directive to follow through with when he was away. Adam was supposed to trash Billy in Newman Media. At Chelsea's, Adam held off to contain the Newman-Abbott wars. On Monday's show, watch for Victor to lose patience with his son over perceived insubordination. When Victor gives a command, he expects it to be followed. The mogul is likely more determined than ever to bring Billy down, as he may ally himself with Kane. Watch for Kane on Monday's show to form a new alliance. He's a man in desperate need of having people on his side, given the disastrous events in France. 3 men died. Kane can say he didn't mean for any of that to happen till the end of time, but that won't change the fact that some families will never be the same. Kane already has a savvy attorney on his team. Who else will Kane enlist to make sure he can execute his grand plan in Genoa City? Chelsea has a secret, and, on Monday's show, she's going to share that secret with Lily. The 2 women are key players in the business wars going on in Genoa City. Chelsea works alongside Adam at Newman Media, while Lily Winters is in charge of her family business. What secret could Chelsea possibly have that she chooses Lily to be her confidant? Perhaps Chelsea's secret will help Lily with her current goal, which is to make sure that Kane stays out of her life. Lily has no interest in seeing her powerful ex-husband, but he is determined to make her part of his life once again. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Audra Charles will learn she's officially out at Vibranti. Victor Newman will fire this schemer for crashing and burning with Kyle Abbott. So let's talk about how it'll all go down. During the week of August 4th-8th, Victor will insist Audra's time is up. Audra failed to break up Kyle and Claire Newman by the deadline, so there are going to be consequences. From the get-go, Victor was clear about what would happen if Audra couldn't deliver on her promises. The Vibrante deal has always been contingent on Audra blowing up Claire and Kyle's romance. Audra acted like Kyle would be putty in her hands and kept assuring Victor that she could pull this off. However, Kyle caught on to Audra's seduction plot and set a trap for her instead. Although Kyle kissed Audra and took things to the brink of a betrayal in bed, it was all for show in the end. Kyle ultimately taunted Audra over her failure and then gloated to Victor about it too. Despite Audra's attempts to talk her way out of getting fired, Victor will indeed cut her loose in the August 6th episode. We'll see Victor blast Audra for accomplishing nothing and wasting his time. Y&R spoilers say Audra will find that she's out at Vibrante. In fact, Vibrante may disappear altogether since it's a pointless startup that Victor doesn't really even want. This cosmetics company only exists because Victor needed a prize to entice Audra into helping with his Kyle and Claire breakup plan. It may vanish on the spot unless Victor wants to pour salt in the wound by giving it to someone else and having it thrive under different leadership. Whatever the case, Audra's downfall is about to begin, and it'll start with Victor firing her for letting him down. From there, Audra could end up losing Nate Hastings too, since he'll continue to ask questions. Nate will wonder how it all went wrong and may get his answer once Kyle confesses the real story to Claire soon enough. The truth about what happened in Nice is set to come out, so Audra can't escape the fallout for much longer. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott will confess to Claire Newman, so he'll horrify his girlfriend with the truth about Audra Charles and Victor Newman. Y&R fans will recall that Kyle delivered a gotcha setup in Nice and called Audra out on her seduction scheme. Kyle viewed it as proof that Audra was trying to blow up his relationship with Claire on Victor's orders. However, Kyle was reluctant to come clean to Claire when he first came home from the trip. Claire has already been dealing with her grief over losing Cole Howard, so it's easy to see why Kyle held off. Of course, things will change once Cole's memorial service is over, and Claire decides she's fed up with the way Victor treats Kyle. Claire will rip into Victor in the August 4 episode and let him know she won't stand for his attempts to ruin her relationship any longer. That'll give Kyle the perfect opportunity to tell Claire what happened in Nice. Kyle will indeed make a confession to Claire and tell her just how far Victor and Audra were willing to go. Kyle made out with Audra and got on top of her in bed wearing only a towel. But he may downplay all that. Although Kyle may admit to kissing Audra to set his trap and prove his theory, he'll no doubt assure Claire that he loves her and would never cheat in the true sense of the word. In the end, it doesn't look like Claire will blame Kyle too much. Claire might acknowledge that she doesn't like the idea of Kyle having his lips all over Audra, but she'll mostly focus on her fury toward Audra and Victor. This will set the stage for Claire to confront Audra over what went down, and Victor will inevitably face Claire's wrath all over again, too. Kyle's confession will strike another blow to Victor's fractured bond with Claire, so Victor may resolve to make him pay for that. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 2 weeks, August 4th to August 15th, reveal that Claire Newman and Audra Charles will have a fierce face-off while Kyle Abbott makes a pitch to Adam Newman. Chelsea Lawson will also land in a tight spot, so here's what Y&R fans can look forward to. During the week of August 4 to 8th, Claire will snap over Victor Newman's attitude toward Kyle, so she'll let her grandfather have it after Cole Howard's memorial. Nikki Newman will think Victor only has himself to blame for the new friction he's facing with Claire. Kyle will eventually make an admission to Claire about what happened in Nice, so she'll find out Victor put Audra up to seducing him. Since Audra flopped on her mission to derail Kyle and Claire's romance, Victor will announce that she's fired. Audra will also face Claire's fury, so they've got a fierce face-off coming up. As for Kane Ashby, he'll put Billy Abbott in a tricky position. Billy will have to decide if he's willing to support Kane's mission, and that'll be a difficult choice since Kane plans to go after Jabot along with all his other targets. Once Jill Abbott makes a Y&R comeback, she'll get into a huge argument with Billy. It turns out Billy will also face more Newman media trouble since Victor will still want Adam to drag him through the mud in the press. Chelsea will land in a situation where she's forced to pick a side. Will Chelsea ultimately surrender and let Adam move forward with publishing the hit pieces? Phyllis Summers will spend her time repeatedly pledging her loyalty to Kane and getting under Billy's skin every chance she gets. Back with Kyle, he'll take Claire with him as he works to reach a deal with Adam. Since Claire and Kyle will be ready to move in together, they may wonder if Adam's place is still up for grabs. Of course, the bigger question will be whether Adam's willing to go against Victor's orders and reach an agreement with Kyle and Claire on this. As for Nikki, she'll have a special request for Jack Abbott, while Victor seeks out an interesting recruit. Victor will push Lily to become part of his revenge on Kane, but she may have some reservations about targeting Kane with shady motives. Nevertheless, Victor will ultimately strike a surprising deal with someone, so we'll see if that involves an agreement with Lily or somebody else. Over with Mariah Copeland, she'll catch up with Sharon Newman and will be glad her mom's okay after all the nice chaos. Mariah will still be haunted over smothering that stranger on her business trip and will worry that her separation from Tessa Porter could end in divorce. The week of August 11th to 15th may bring Tessa even closer to Daniel Romalotti Jr., who may have more of a romantic interest in her than he's been letting on. As for Sharon and her evolving relationship with Nick Newman, will they share another kiss? Nick and Sharon are going to be in a complicated state of limbo, so that may cause some issues. Over with Kane again, he'll be brimming with confidence as he goes up against Victor. However, Victor will have some sinister strategies that Kane won't see coming, especially if he can convince Lily to become part of his plan. Finally, Billy's alliance with Kane may move forward and leave Jack worried about him getting in over his head. I.e. if Billy helps Kane target Jabot, you can bet Jack's going to be furious. The Young and the Restless, update for Monday, August 4th, reveals that Cole Howard's memorial will end in disaster while Chelsea Lawson spills Kane Ashby's to Lily Winters. At the coffee house, Chelsea will bump into Lily, so they'll talk about Kane being Aristotle Dumas. When Chelsea mentions Kane visiting Genoa City while everyone else was in Nice, Lily will realize he lied about them being trapped on the mountain. Lily will also pull up a group chat on her phone with Maddie Ashby and Charlie Ashby. Since the twins don't know about all the Dumas drama yet, Lily will leave them a voice message and admit Kane has some news to share. At the ranch on Monday's Y&R episode, Newman will gripe about Adam Newman not carrying out orders to trash Billy Abbott through Newman Media. Victor will still want Billy crushed, especially because he'll expect him to become a full partner of Kane. Adam won't be able to change Victor's mind, so Nick Newman will think Adam has to pick which side he's on. As everyone prepares for Cole's memorial, Claire Newman will insist on having Kyle Abbott right by her side. Victor will totally ignore Kyle and leave Claire fuming over how rude he's being. After the memorial is held off-screen, Victor will make a toast to Cole as Claire, Kyle, Adam, Chelsea, Nick, Victoria Newman, Nikki Newman gather around him. As Victor makes his speech, he'll take an obvious jab at Kyle by talking about others who have tried and failed to become part of the Newman family. Claire will decide she's had enough, so she'll put Victor on full blast for his treatment of Kyle. After Victor refuses to apologize for protecting his loved ones, Claire will decide she should have stood up to him long before now, and will declare that she's done. Claire won't want to deal with any more of Victor's attempts to derail her romance, so she'll stomp out the door with Kyle in tow. Over with Kane, he'll meet with Phyllis Summers in a suite at the athletic club, but he'll plan to live on his train once his identical American one chugs to GC. Billy will arrive next, so it won't take long for him to get into an argument with Phyllis. Kane will shut down their bickering as he tries to get the meeting back on track. Although Phyllis will be completely ready for an alliance no matter the enemy, Billy will have some reservations about one particular target. Kane will play up his goal of scooping up GC businesses to fold into his powerhouse entity, including Jabot. Billy will have a hard time committing to that family betrayal, but Kane will offer to bring Abbott Communications into the fold as well and try to sweeten the deal. After Billy admits he'll need some time to consider this, Kane will acknowledge that he expected that response. Since Kane is attempting what could be an impossible feat, Billy will suspect maybe a secret weapon is involved. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Tuesday, August 5th, reveal that Jill Abbott will return for a Billy Abbott blow-up and some Chance Chancellor mourning. Phyllis Summers will also make a promise to Kane Ashby, but she'll really be looking out for her personal agenda. For starters, Kane will continue his strategy session with Phyllis and Billy in his athletic club suite. Billy will remain hesitant when it comes to targeting Jabot, but Kane will work to lock him in as an ally anyway. As for Phyllis, she'll promise Kane that she can be the partner he needs. Phyllis will try to say all the right things and convince Kane that he can truly trust her. Phyllis is the type of character who always looks out for number one, so her loyalty to Kane will only go so far. However, as long as Kane can do big things for Phyllis's career and leave a door open for Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s career too, she'll remain devoted to him. Of course, There have been some hints about Kane having a secret weapon, so could that secret weapon be Jill? Since Jill will return in Tuesday's Y&R episode, it's an option to mull over. It's possible Jill has some regrets about giving the Newmans control of Chancellor. Jill might be willing to pitch in and help Kane get it back, but there could be trouble when she learns Billy is involved. Whatever the case, Billy and Jill will have a major blow-up once they're forced to interact again. Jill and Billy's animosity will be on full display, but Chance's demise could play a role in her emotional outburst. Now that the news has spread about Chance's grim fate, Jill will have some mourning to do. Even if Jill's willing to help Kane in the end, she may lash out at him over Chance dying on his property. Over with Nikki Newman, she'll rip into Victor Newman for driving Claire Newman away with his attempts to split her up from Kyle Abbott. Victor will insist that he's looking out for Claire and trying to prevent her broken heart, but Nikki may argue that Victor has caused more than enough heartbreak on his own. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nikki will push Victor to make some updates to his perspective before he loses Claire for good. But he won't listen. CDL will have other fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, updates, and news to read up on, so stop by often for more Y&R details. Kane has a long road ahead of him in Genoa City. This week's Slow Burn involves Kane's storyline on The Young and the Restless. He's on a long road to redemption. Despite what happened in Nice, Kane is determined to move back to Genoa City and make everything right again. But first, he'll screw up some more. Kane has a long road ahead of him. He believes that everyone is going to forget about the bloodbath that happened in Nice. No, they're a little traumatized right now and could use some deep therapy. However, Kane won't let them forget what happened in the last few days. Instead of going back into hiding, he's following them all the way to Genoa City. He's determined to redeem himself to Lily and everyone else. He's making it his full-time job. This also sets up Kane's future. He could become the next Victor Newman, although it's hard to replace them. Both have made billions of dollars independently. They also have a difficult relationship with their fathers and questionable business dealings. These two have more in common than they care to admit, but they won't be having tea together anytime soon. Victor vowed to take Kane down. The two will continue to compete against each other. The town of GC could be split into two groups. It'll be interesting to see where Kane fits in and how he operates. It's going to be hard for him to defeat Victor, though. He's the godfather of Genoa City, and he can never lose. This is especially the case since Kane is now public enemy number 1. He successfully took that title away from Tucker. Kane's recent actions set the tragedy that transpired in motion. He literally had blood on his hands. And yet, he thinks he can make it up to Nate and Jill. He has another thing coming. Also, Kane is still keeping secrets from this crew, who's already got eyes on him. He enlisted Holden to keep an eye on Mariah. However, he didn't realize that he was working with a newbie. Holden messed up big time when Chelsea caught on to him. You can't fool another fellow con artist. Hopefully, we will find out about Mariah's secret and what Holden has to do with it. Kane could use this as ammunition against the Newmans, especially if she did kill that old man. But this is a terrible way to redeem himself. The longer that Kane plays out this con, the longer his road to redemption will be. Get ready for a fiery week in Genoa City as Victor Newman takes control and doesn't let go. The week of August 4th-8 is packed with high-stakes confrontations on The Young and the Restless. Family loyalty will be tested, and not everyone will survive Victor's wrath unscathed. These are the biggest moments Soap Hub chose as the moments to watch for the upcoming episodes. Victor has often given Adam chances, but this week, his patience officially runs out. Adam's latest streak of insubordination over not trashing Billy with Newman Media pushes Victor to his breaking point. Expect a heated showdown where Victor reminds Adam who's really in charge. Whether Adam listens is another story, but the fallout from their clash is sure to ripple across the Newman family. It's not just Adam who gets under Victor's skin. Nikki and Victor find themselves on opposite sides of a family argument, and things escalate quickly. Nikki isn't about to let Victor bulldoze his way through delicate matters regarding Claire and Kyle's relationship, but Victor's in no mood for compromise. Their marriage has survived plenty, but this week will test their ability to stay united. Audra Charles faces Victor's fury head-on when he serves her walking papers. After everything in France, Victor decides that enough is enough. Audra's reaction? Let's just say she won't go quietly. But while Audra scrambles, Victor's already setting his next move in motion. Victor's revenge plot is far from over, and now he's looking to recruit Lily to go up against Kane with him. He sees her as the perfect ally for his next scheme, but Lily isn't one to be easily manipulated. Will she take the bait or stand her ground? Victor's pitch will be one to watch. By week's end, Victor strikes a deal that no one sees coming. It's bold, risky, and has the potential to upend everything. When Victor plays the long game, it's always with a purpose, and this surprise alliance could change the landscape in ways no one anticipates. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Sharon Newman will demand answers from Nick Newman about their passionate kiss in France. Sharon needs to know what the kiss meant to him because she felt a spark and wants to explore their renewed love possibilities. Sharon and Nick have had many chances at love. They met when they were just out of high school. They endured many challenges in life, including the loss of their daughter, Cassie Newman. Cassie's death sealed their fate as a couple. Nick sought comfort in Phyllis Summers. Sharon found comfort in Brad Carlton. They've tried to make it work several other times, but Nick's connection to Phyllis is always a sore spot. Sharon thinks this time could be different for them. For the first time ever, Sharon is in a good place with Phyllis. They aren't friends exactly, but they can talk to each other without the need of a referee. It won't surprise the Y&R fans to know that Nick will backpedal on that passionate kiss in France. Sharon was finally happy to have intimacy with Nick, as she had wanted him back for several years. Last year, Nick wanted to be with Sharon, but feared how it would change their relationship. In the end, they decided to be best friends and not get romantically involved. Now, fast forward to the France kiss. Sharon asked him what the kiss meant to him. She felt they needed to talk about it, so they are on the same page. Nick is coy with Sharon, refusing to discuss it with Sharon. He points out that his family still considers her part of the family. Sharon wants to know if the kiss would change their relationship, but he refuses to say. Sharon has been through so much in the past few years. First, Ray Rose Ellis suddenly passed away. Then Ian Ward and Jordan Howard laced her medicine with PCP, leading to hallucinations and a murder trial. She has just started to balance her life out when she ended up getting an invite from Kane Ashby. Through everything, Nick was her sounding board. He was there for her in a way no one else was. He believed in her and fought for her freedom, and discovered Ian and Jordan laced her psychiatric medicine with PCP. If Nick pushes Sharon away, it is very possible that he could break her heart again. Let's hope Nick finds a way to let Sharon down gently and doesn't flat out shut her down. Y&R fans, do you think Nick will break Sharon's heart again? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Remember to watch The Young and the Restless, airing weekdays on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. Carter's obsession with Kane went too far. This week's messiest move goes to Carter on The Young and the Restless. He hinted that he would do anything for his boss, even if that meant murdering his guests. We also got an idea of who Carter was and why he staged this murder plot in the first place. Carter was obsessed with Kane. He said that he would do anything for him. He ended up killing Damien and tried to frame Nick for the murder. Somehow, Chance got caught in the crossfire and was murdered. Then, Carter expressed immense regret over what he did. He saw that Kane was upset with him for creating this murder bloodbath. He ended up taking his own life. Carter was Kane's right-hand man. He was groomed to do anything for the billionaire. Carter told Kane that he taught him everything he knew, but Kane never told Carter to murder anyone. So, where did he get this idea from? The lines blurred in Kane's work relationship with Carter. Carter was obsessed with Kane because he was the only person in his life. Carter revealed that he was homeless and alone until he met Kane. Then he was taken under his wing. Carter was instructed to do everything Kane wanted, even snatching up properties and disguising himself as Aristotle Dumas. Up to that point, Carter still referred to Kane as Dumas. That's as far as his obsession went. This also shows how far gone Carter was. He was not in touch with reality or at least with Kane's reality, which didn't even feel real in itself. Sadly, we won't learn anything else about this character, and whether he was connected to the De Leon family. Sadly, the trip to Nice had to end this way. Y&R fans are mourning the deaths of two beloved characters and wondering about the character who ended his own life. Carter never had a chance working for Kane. Young and the Restless sees Jack Abbott considering a shocking move that involves conspiring with his little brother Billy Abbott, and surprisingly, also includes Kane Ashby. All three of them together are taking aim at Victor Newman. We're going to talk about why Jack is planning this pivot, and why he may embrace Billy's desire to work with Kane to topple Victor. The reason why Jack is considering it makes total sense, but it is a dangerous game. As of Thursday, everybody is back in Genoa City, and they're all preparing for war because of Kane and the events that happened in Nice, France. We'll see Victor and Nikki Newman calling a family meeting to address the threat of Kane, who is indeed planning big things. Victor let Kane know before they left France that he knew about all the real estate purchases in GC, including the GCAC. Victor openly declared war on Kane. The problem is, Victor's already fighting other wars on two fronts, one with Billy and another with Kyle Abbott that Jack is taking very personally. And that's where everything gets really interesting. Victor warns the family about the huge threat of Kane and wants to circle the wagons for the Newmans to strategize on how to stop Kane. Already, Victoria Newman and Adam Newman are plotting to try and figure out Kane's next move in the real estate market so they can shut him down and beat him to the punch. Nikki and Victor already know that Kane is coming for Chancellor. What they don't know is Kane's coming for a lot more than that. All of the Newman businesses, including the flagship company Victor founded, Newman Enterprises, and also Newman Media. Kane's planning to take over Jabot as well. He told Phyllis Summers that Kane might soon get a sweet deal from Jack that has him forgetting about taking over Jabot and only focusing on Newman-owned businesses. So the question is, why would Jack partner up with Kane? Jack was just raging about Kane's actions in France costing lives. But it's one of those things. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Victor is Kane's enemy, and he's also Jack's enemy. That is why Jack wants to be Kane's friend. Not because Jack wants to fight with Victor, but because the mustache isn't going to stop. He's tired of it and is going to get proactive and try to end this once and for all. Once they're back in GC, Jack and Diane Jenkins are worried about Victor targeting Kyle, using Audra Charles to do it, because they know it's not over. Kyle told his parents what happened in France. But the thing is, Kyle left Claire Grace Newman at a critical time to go play these reindeer games with Audra, trying to expose her and Victor. Now, he didn't know Claire's dad was going to die, but he knew that Cole Howard was really sick, and there was no reason for him to go. He hadn't been planning to go, and Audra goaded him into it. Bottom line, that meant Kyle was not there for Claire when she needed him the most. I'm sure Victor is going to rub that in. Kyle is hoping that because he didn't fall in bed with Audra, that he didn't let her seduce him, that he has proved himself to Victor, and he somehow thinks the mustache is going to back off. But that's not how it's going to go. Not at all. Instead, Victor is angrier than ever about Claire and Kyle. Where he had doubled down before, he may triple down. At least this time, Jack is stepping into the fray and is going to get involved. When the rest of the Newman family showed up, Claire was not there. Instead, she went over to meet Kyle. Victoria warned her that Victor wouldn't like it, but Claire didn't care. She wanted to go see her man. Sure enough, Victor was outraged, even though Nick Newman, Victoria, and Nikki all thought that was a totally normal thing for Claire to do. Diane and Jack think it's a bad time to go on their honeymoon because they assume Victor and Audra are still going to try and undermine Kyle and Claire and hurt their son. When Kyle and Claire ran into Audra in the park with Nate Hastings, things got weird. Audra's boyfriend noticed while Claire seemed a little more distracted. With that all in mind, Diane is worried that Victor is still going to blow up Kyle and Claire's relationship and hurt their son. Then Jack really stuns Diane when he says he would team up with Kane if he thought it would stop Victor. Diane is really surprised to hear him say that. Jack thinks it might be worth the risk. Realistically, Billy is already working with Kane, so the Abbotts have a foot in the door with Kane. I just don't see Billy and Kane turning Jack down because a group scheme to target Victor sounds great. The more the merrier, right? This would triple their chances of taking down Victor because Kane, Jack, and Billy, all acting as the united front, brings a lot more power to the table. Jack doesn't care about Chancellor or Kane's other plans. Jack just wants to crush Victor, so he will stop targeting Kyle on Young and the Restless. Jack fussing about Kane has put his relationship with Billy at risk. So if Jack decides to go all in with Kane and Billy, that would probably undo some of the damage to Jack and Billy's brother bond, which is another good thing. What's funny is Jack has the same goal as Nikki, Victoria, and Claire. They all want Victor to stop targeting Kyle and Claire and let them be. But Victor's not going to listen to anybody in his family, least of all Claire. Based on what happened in France, Jack knows how far Victor will go to break Kyle and Claire up, and he knows they won't stop. The only reason Kyle hasn't outed Victor and Audra for their scheme to Claire is because she's grieving her father Cole. Kyle threatened to tell Nate, but he's grieving his brother Damien Keynes. So Kyle doesn't want to upset Claire and Nate as they're getting ready to bury their loved ones because it's going to be hard to hear that people close to them betrayed them. Claire was already saying she hoped her grandpa Victor gave up his plotting while in France. He hasn't. Kyle was kind of like, but he didn't want to really tell her. Of course, Victor's going to go at it even harder now that they are back in town. Diane is worried how Claire's going to react when she finds out how far things went between Audra and Kyle when he was trying to expose her. Diane told Jack she thinks Claire may react the same way Victor did when Jack helped Nikki go to rehab, that she might just be blindly furious. I don't think Kyle realizes it, but he betrayed Claire by making out with Audra for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the reason. Kyle went too far and was rolling around on the bed with her, making out passionately. Audra could spin things to make Kyle look really bad to Claire, especially if Audra thinks she's going to lose Nate anyway. Very soon, look for Jack to approach Kane. He may go through Billy to do it, unless Diane finds a way to talk him out of it, which I doubt. Jack dislikes Kane, but let's face it, he's the lesser of two evils compared to Victor, and Jack thinks this scheme is for the greater good. Plus, Billy would be thrilled to have Jack on board, and he may pressure Kane to take the deal and form a power trio dedicated to destroying Victor and taking everything from him. Going up against Victor won't be easy, but Jack's been at war with Victor for decades. So what's one more fight, especially if it will help his son Kyle? I'm super excited to see Kane finding out he's got a strong new ally to work with him and Billy to topple Victor once and for all. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for the week of August 4th, 2025. Fans can expect Kyle Abbott to confess. Claire Grace Newman confronts Audra Charles. Plus, Chelsea Lawson bonds with Lily Winters. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Let's start off with Kyle, who is keeping a big secret from Claire. Although Kyle insists he planned on tricking Audra, I'm not so sure about that. I think Audra might be right that a part of Kyle wanted it. In any case, Kyle hasn't told Claire everything that happened in Nice yet. Thankfully, Kyle confesses early in the week. Later, Victor Newman informs Audra that their deal is off. Once Claire learns the truth, she faces off with Audra. Over with Adam Newman, he gets a new demand from Victor. It's about the smear campaign against Billy Abbott. The more that Adam puts his father's order off, the more furious Victor will become. During their next chat, Chelsea just happens to be listening nearby. So, what will Adam end up doing? That isn't all, though. It seems that Kyle wants to make some kind of deal with Adam. In the preview clip, Claire is doing all the talking. However, the written spoilers state that it's Adam who wants to make the deal. Later, Nikki turns to Jack Abbott for a favor. By Friday, Victor ends up making a surprising deal. The patriarch will also try to get Lily in on his revenge scheme. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 4th reveal that Chelsea will catch up with Lily. At some point during the week, Chelsea tells Lily a secret. By the time Friday rolls around, Chelsea must pick a side. Fans will also see Kane Ashby continue to be busy forming alliances. Billy and Jill Abbott have an explosive fight. Phyllis Summers protects her own interests. It is also teased that Phyllis and Billy will get under each other's skin. However, if they both want to win, then Kane is going to force them to play nice, or the whole deal is off. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of August 4th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. Finally, the Abbotts, Newmans, ETL, escaped from Danger Island. Yes, we know the young and the restless characters weren't on an island, but it sure felt like they were. They'd all come to Aristotle Dumas's party and found that they soon had no way to communicate with their loved ones, and they were trapped on Kane's estate. For weeks, we watched folks wander through a maze of shrubbery in brightly colored outfits. If only Brad Carlton, the Abbotts' former gardener, had lived and accompanied everyone abroad. He could have brought his hedge clippers and cut a path to freedom. This past week began with the walls closing in on Carter. Yes, folks, the butler did it. Okay, he wasn't truly a butler, but he was the most devoted majordomo we'd see on television since Blake Carrington's loyal associate Joseph on Dynasty. If Kane were on trial for murder, we suspect that Carter would have committed perjury 100 times over. Killing Damien makes sense as he was trying to create a path to reunion for Kane and Lily. But how did Carter's homicidal tendencies track with the fact that Kane sensed his life was in danger? Carter didn't want to kill Kane. He wanted to help him. Was someone else trying to kill Kane? Why didn't he have that security guard who escorted Nick and Sharon to a dungeon room, sticking by his boss 24/7? If Kane thought someone was trying to kill him, why did he invite several people to his estate who could have reacted negatively to him being Dumas? Why didn't the multimillionaires who went to Kane's party bring some security of their own? We do have to give major props to Y&R's costumer and wardrobe department. Nikki, Lauren, Phyllis, Sharon, Lily, and Audra packed more fashions for a weekend trip than Lovey Howell did for 3 seasons on Gilligan's Island. Something we have trouble wrapping our heads around is why Y&R killed off Chance. The show has honored the Newman and Abbott clans with spiffy new sets over the last year. We were hoping that the late Catherine Chancellor's home was going to get a makeover too. But now with Chance, the grandson of Catherine's husband, dead, there's no blood tie to the mansion. But think of the folks who could have occupied the grand estate. Jill, Nina, and Mac could all be living in her home. We don't care how much money or property Esther inherited from her late boss. Esther should be in her maid's uniform, greeting visitors, annoying Jill, and keeping watch over Catherine's home. It would be a way for her to feel close to the great lady. Speaking of poor dead Chance, we are still hoping that there's a memorial service for him, which will be attended by the previously mentioned Jill and Nina. And let's not forget about Philip III, Chance's father. For years we believed he was dead, and now some have forgotten that he's alive. Illness kept him from Chance and Abby's wedding years ago. Why bring Philip back to life if he's never going to be seen? We saw Philip die on screen, yet he still managed to do the Lazarus routine. Memo to Y&R. If you want to bring Chance back to life like a phoenix, we're perfectly fine with that. We like to think that Billy somehow whisked his nephew away so he can get better, because Billy's not showing much remorse. He didn't even want to call Jill out of concern that she might not take the call. Are things that bad? Can we not get Jess Walton back as Jill to honor Chance? Nina too? Billy and Phyllis were both kind of cold about Chance's passing. He was a good man, Phyllis said. But hey, who cares about Chance's red blood when there's some green money to be made with Kane? Back in Genoa City, Nate had the unenviable task of telling Amy that Damien was dead. Brava to Valieri Pettiford for the scenes in which Amy sailed down denial and cut loose with grief. Her nervous rant before Nate delivered the devastating news had us thinking that Amy knew on some level that Nate was going to tell her something that she simply did not want to hear. Life is strange. Amy was worried Damien was going to have to bury her. Now, she's going to have to bury her only son. Well, maybe Amy has another child out there. She has been gone for a long time. Maybe there's a daughter they can bring on for her? Chance wasn't the only hero in France, by the way. Lauren may not be a lawyer, but she's been paying attention to her lawyer husband, Michael, and her business colleagues at Fenmore's department stores. Nikki's gesture to simply sign over Chancellor Industries to Kane was the definition of duress, and that's just what Lauren told Amanda it would be. What kind of lawyer is Amanda that she wouldn't know this? She may be a corporate lawyer, but didn't "kidnapping is a crime" come up in law school? Though Amanda is worth every penny that Kane pays her, as she managed to work with local authorities over the murders that occurred on Kane's estate so quickly. Money talks, people. Nick and Sharon were being held against their will. Nick's motive, if it could be called that, to want to hurt Kane, had more holes in it than Swiss cheese. Carter and the big burly bodyguard weren't properly vetted. It's one thing to put Nick and Sharon under house arrest, but why did they have to be brought to such a dingy room when Kane had a big chateau? When Amanda saw that a struggle had taken place, she repeated a few times lines along the lines of, "This wasn't supposed to happen." Well, you play with fire and people get burned. Victor and his family should sue Kane and his billions into oblivion on charges of false imprisonment and whatever else Michael Baldwin can come up with. Jack Abbott and Victor Newman don't see eye to eye on much. But both patriarchs were spot on in calling out Kane for everything that had gone wrong. Kane saying he didn't know what Carter was capable of only carries so much weight. When Billy casually mentioned they'd all be going home, Jack was quick to point out that Chance would not be, and that Jill and Nina would be devastated. Before everyone left Kane's vacation getaway, Victor informed Kane that he was responsible for everything that had gone down. 3 people were dead, Nick had been injured, and Kane was responsible for all of it. Billy Flynn is a terrific actor, and he is doing a great job in his new role. But lines like, "It wasn't supposed to be this way," only carry so much weight. We expect, as Kane is the new owner of the Genoa City Athletic Club, that he'll be running into pretty much everyone in town. Get ready to hear, "I never meant for anyone to be hurt. My plans will be revealed," and "Lily, you're looking well," to be spoken a lot. However, the Newmans and Abbotts may want to throw their dining budget to society so they can avoid Kane. Speaking of Abby, where has she been? She kind of disappeared midway into the Dumas Kane story like Thelma Ritter did halfway through All About Eve. Chance and Abby were husband and wife. Dominic wouldn't be alive if they hadn't decided to have a child and asked Devon to be the donor. Where is Abby? The beauty of soaps is that they have time to explore emotions, reactions, and relationships. It's bad enough that Chance has been killed, but don't deny us the reactions from his loved ones.